You guys ready?
Yeah, bro.
All right. Today is June 15th. Hey, guys, by the way, we are the 90-Minute Club. On the bottom left, we got Mr. Premier League himself, Anthony Acast, Serie A fan of Inter Milan. And on the bottom right, we have Acknowledge Me Man, Roman Reigns fan, Dylan Perrone. Hey, guys, we are the 90-Minute Club. Use the hashtag 90-Minute Club. Please follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and watch our YouTube videos as well. The first thing I want to say, I don't know if you guys watched the video that was posted last week, but for Inter Worldwide, which is a big Instagram page and a big Twitter page, Anthony Privatelli posted a big shout out about us of the 90-Minute Club. I don't know if you guys watched the video, but a huge shout out to Anthony. Thank you so much for that video. I really do appreciate it. Did you guys watch the video? The shout out that was made to us?
Yeah, I saw it. That was awesome.
Yeah, appreciate that from him. That was great. Shout out to him.
Okay. I really appreciate it, Anthony from Inter Worldwide. Thank you so much. And we'll definitely collab. Interesting fact, I don't know if you guys watched the video, but he's from Sydney, Australia. He's a big Serie A fan. And I think Australia was, 14-hour difference, I think?
Yeah, something
I
crazy.
think so, right? So when I tried to get him live, I researched the difference of time. I was like, yeah, it's like 4 in the morning there. I'm like, yeah, there's no way it's going to happen. But we'll reschedule, make it happen. But salute to him. If you guys aren't watching the Nations League matches, they're available on Fox Sports 1, Fox Sports 2, Fubo TV, which is a streaming service, and VIX, which is a partnership of Univision and TUDN. And for Italian fans, the biggest benefit throughout all these matches is out of the 4 Nations League matches, 3 were televised on Fox Sports 1 or Fox Sports 2, with the England match was televised on VIX and Fubo TV. We're going to start with that match. England-Italy 0-0. The game was televised on VIX and Fubo TV. The match was played at Wolverhampton Stadium where the Wolves play the team from England in the EPL. Both teams did play well. It was a well-deserved point on both sides. The best chance that I remember from the match was Tonali. He had a fantastic shot. Great save by Jordan Pickford. The guy is absolutely beast in the net behind the pipes. But overall, both sides played well. Well-deserved point from both sides. And the best part about it, I was talking to Anthony during the match, and he said, I hope that Hungary and Germany tied their game, at which they did, so everything worked out in our favor. I'm going to start with you, Ant. Any opinion on the England-Italy match that happened 0-0?
Yeah, I was actually golfing when the match happened. I know Dylan was too, but I had it on in the cart and I was watching as much as I could. At the time, I thought it was a good result in England. We were top of the group, and England wanted revenge, this and that, and I thought it was a good tie at the time. Now, looking back, seeing how they lost to Hungary, got blown out, and then we just lost to Germany, I wish we could have got more from the game. I think both teams had their chances. Both teams could have won the game. Both teams could have lost the game. But I think the tie was kind of fair, a fair result for what happened. And like I said, looking back at it, I wish we finished our chances because a tie wasn't good enough because now we're sitting in 3rd place. But can't change the past. We just got to perform next round of Nation League games.
I love that input, Anthony. And I do agree that it is a change of effort. Obviously, we're going to talk about the next match that happened yesterday. We're going to talk about that later. But the next thing, I'm going to go to you, Dylan. Any opinions on the England-Italy match, and did you expect a 0-0 draw?
I kind of figured it would be low scoring. Even when we beat them in the Euro, it was 1-1, right?
Yeah.
Yes, the Euro is 1-1-1, yes.
Yeah, and then it went to penalties. Italy was never really known for their offense, especially now. We've been talking, they've been trying a bunch of different lineups to try to figure it out at this point. So I wasn't really expecting a big goal performance. But I was kind of happy to see the defense hold up a little bit. England has a pretty strong attack, a lot of big-name players. So But looking back on it now, I think I would have obviously preferred a victory because England and Italy tie, and it looks like right now they're the two weakest teams in the division based on points. I don't think anybody saw Hungary doing what they're doing, but look at them at the top spot, and then we'll touch on the Germany game later. But that's where I'm at with it.
Any other opinions we have of the England-Italy match?
No, overall good game. I think the tie was fair, but defense looked good. But obviously, scoring struggles still continue for us.
I agree, and that's something we've been struggling for a majority of the time. We're going to go into it in the second match as well. So before the match happened yesterday, this was the standings. It was Italy with 5, Hungary with 4, Germany with 3, and England with 2. So this was the lineup for the match, and I was talking to Anthony about this, and we're going to mention this. Italy played a 4-3-3, the usual. They've been playing since the Euros. Donnarumma in net, and defense was Calabria, Mancini, Bastoni, Spinazzola, and then the three midfielders you have Barella, Cristante, Fratesi, and then your three forwards you have Politano, Raspadori, Giotto. Any opinion on just the formation? We're going to start with you, Anthony.
No, I mean, I told you I like that formation a lot. I like the players selected. It's kind of the future of Italy, I would say. It didn't work out now. Germany is one of the best countries in the world right now. Probably one of the favorites for the World Cup. So I think it shows that we're kind of not at that level anymore, and we just have to build back up from the bottom, and hopefully we could get to that level soon enough.
Dylan, just judging by the formation I mentioned, is there anybody that you would switch, or you like it the way it was before the match?
So that was the lineup versus the Germany game, correct?
Yeah, against Germany, yes.
Well, I think that one of the bright spots we've had is, how do you say his name? Gnotto?
Gnotto.
Gnotto.
Yeah,
he's been one about the only guys that could really find the net recently. So I definitely like to see him in there. And I don't know who he brought in. They brought in DiMarco off the bench, right? And Scamacca.
Yes, they also brought in Luis Felipe, which I don't know if you noticed his last name. It said Ramos, and I was like, "Wait, who is that?" I don't know if you guys noticed that.
Yeah, he's one of the Brazilian guys that they got.
Yeah, it must be one of those where he nationalized. I mean, overall, that I like some of the players, but I think we were outmatched. Sometimes you just don't match up well against a certain team. I don't know if this is a different lineup than we played against them previously, because didn't we play Germany 2 weeks ago and we tied?
Yes, it's a totally different lineup we played.
So, I mean, that doesn't mean that this lineup's necessarily worse than that one overall. Maybe just the way it matched up, and Germany could have had a good day, but let's call a spade a spade. It was 5-0. We scored 2 goals at the end that made it look a little bit prettier than it was supposed to be, right? It was a rough game overall for us. And I also want to say the shots were there. Just looking at the statistics, we had 14 shots, which is honestly better pressure than we've had in a while. I think Neuer had a pretty good game for Germany. He's so good.
He had a fantastic match.
Yeah, he's so good that people always kind of undermine him and just assume that he's going to have a good game because he plays in Bayern. He's played with these top teams all his life almost. He made some good saves. We also only had 34% possession though. So, we're kind of a team that normally controls the pace of the game. And it kind of Germany did that to us, and that could have been our downfall there. I think it just was a bad matchup, but the fact that we tied them 2 weeks ago and we got smoked this game wasn't a good look. I think you're muted, bro.
I'm sorry about that. I agree 100% on what you said, and that's something we've been struggling for, not just now. I would say after the Euros in general, we don't know how to keep pace of the ball, and this is something that has been the factor that we need to fix. Chris Looney 12 posted a message. He said, "Where does Italy go from here?" We will mention that comment later. We'll mention it after our analyzation of the Germany-Italy part. Before we go to that question, I appreciate that question, Chris Looney. Thank you so much. So obviously Germany-Italy ended 5-2. This match was televised on Fox Sports 1 and the VIX streaming app. Germany opens up the goal. I think at like the 6th, 7th minute.
Yeah.
Kimmich scores. Defense was not there at all. Bastoni gave a terrible foul in the back. I believe it was the Leroy Sané. I don't know if it was Leroy Sané. I'm not 100% sure. But stupid foul he shouldn't have done. A push behind. Goretzka 2-0 in the first half. They looked absolutely terrible. In the third half, gets absolutely worse when the old dinosaur Thomas Mueller scores to make it 3-0. But this is the main question. So in the 54th minute, I don't know if you guys have been watching this, but Barella had a chance. I guess he tackled the ball, and I don't know if Neuer had a save on the line or if it went in and then he took it out. But for me, it looked like a goal to me. I'm going to start with you, Anthony. Was that a goal from Barella? 54th minute. Was that a goal? Was it a save? Should VAR should have checked it? What's your opinion on that?
Yeah, I think it actually went in, but he was offsides. They showed, so obviously it didn't matter anyway. But like I said, like Dale said, Neuer had an amazing game. He was doing that all day, making save after save, and even though the ball did cross the line, it did kind of save it still. So I think while we did lose, we deserved to lose. It was embarrassing. I think Neuer did kind of keep him in the game, at least in the first half. That's about it.
Dylan, do you think it was a goal, and do you think VAR should have checked the play beforehand, or do you think the referee made the right call?
I mean, I kind of agree with Ant, but at the end of the day, I also don't really think it mattered. Like, I don't think we could just sit here and say that that's why we lost. Like, we deserved to lose from start to finish that game. I think, so I think they did check it, and he was offsides anyways. I think that's why it didn't count. But, yeah, I would just watch it again. Holy shit. And Neuer, still kind of made a sick play anyways, even if how close it was. He had a great game. I'm not going to blame it on that. I think that they made the right call. You're muted again, I think.
I'm sorry about that. I still got to remember that. But anyways, I feel like VAR should have at least checked it and said, hey, this is not a goal due to goal line technology or something. Because that play was very tight. And if it was offsides or not, they should have still checked it with VAR or just goal line technology, because they do have that technology. It just mind boggles me that they don't have that. So that's another thing that just frustrates me beyond belief. But another thing I want to mention is so Timo Werner scores to make it 4-0. Then Donnarumma had another blunder, just passes it right to Timo Werner. 5-0 for Germany, and that's only 71 minutes of a disaster. We conceded 5 goals in 71 minutes. I feel like I was watching Germany against Brazil, and we were Brazil. We're getting crushed, or we're getting destroyed. I really thought it was going to be 7-1, maybe 8-0. I really thought it was going to be. But the only blessing of this game was Yotto. And Dylan, I appreciate you mentioned that. He didn't give up. He scored a goal. And then obviously Bastoni in the 93rd minute, he got a goal and a header. But to say the least, it was an Italian disaster. And I'm going to start with you, Anthony. Is Donnarumma out of form? Yes or no?
I think with him, it's just, we saw even in this game, he made some crazy saves. He just can't pass the ball. He's just not good with his feet, and he always makes his mistakes. And the problem is they play, he tries to play with it too much in the back, and obviously that's just not his strength, and he makes these mistakes. But he's probably the best shot stopper in the world. He just always has these mistakes with his feet, and I think I'm not understanding why they keep playing it out from the back with him. We see it all the time where they're taking the goal kick short, and he's just passing around back there, and that's when we see these mistakes. So I wouldn't say that I want someone else. Like I said, he's one of the best goalies in the world, but they just need to find a different play style with that, where they just, I guess, kick the goal kicks long or whatever, where he doesn't have to play it out and make those mistakes. that's something that Mancini needs to work on for sure, and Donnarumma needs to work on footwork.
No, like I said, I agree 100%. Maybe it's something he needs to work on, or maybe the Italians shouldn't play as deep as they do in the past. So this is something that may need to change, or something that may need to be fixed. I'm going to go with you, Dylan. Do you think Donnarumma should be starting in the next 2 games in the Nations League, or do you think it's time to give this spot to Kranjor Merit?
I think talent-wise, you probably have to play him, although he's going through a slump right now. I also don't think it's his fault that they lost. I know that he has the blunder with his feet, but, I mean, you can't blame all 5 goals on him. He didn't really receive a lot of help. I think that maybe if they bench him 1 game just as kind of like a statement, like to get his head in the right spot, maybe that could do well for him. I know he's super young. I think he's only like 22 or 23. So, I mean, he's got a lot.
Yeah, around there, I think so, yeah.
Yeah, he's got a lot of growing to do, not only as a player, but just, mentally throughout the game. And I think that could probably help him. I still think that talent-wise, he's the best goalkeeper we have on the roster. I think when he's on, he's just as good as anybody in the world. There's a reason, he's won the Euro Cup. He plays in PSG, which is one of the biggest clubs in the world. He's played in AC Milan before there. He's been there before, and he's there for a reason. But I think that maybe 1 game or 2 just to get his head right and see the substitute play, and like maybe it'll be like a wake-up call, like, hey, I really need to get my shit together. Maybe he needs to practice with his feet a little bit more to be a bit safer, or maybe they need to just stop playing him the ball with his feet. I don't think it could hurt at this point, because I think regardless of who we had in goal, I think we lose that game. I don't think it really mattered.
No, and I agree 100%. I appreciate your comment. And for me, I don't know if you guys noticed, but he looks out of shape. He looks like he got a lot. He looks like he got heavier. So that's another thing. Like for me, I feel like maybe he needs to lose a bit more weight because he looks heavy, and there's some of the saves that he should have had. The first one, it went under his arm. He should have had that. And then I think it was the 3rd or 4th one. I think when Mueller scored, but he looked absolutely horrible. And you know what? It's not just his fault. It's also the back line. It's also having the security of like years ago with Bonucci and Chiellini. Now, obviously, you have to rely on, Bastoni is the future. But he didn't have a great game yesterday, and we know that. But, the problem is, who's going to line up with Bastoni? Is it going to be Mancini, or is it going to be somebody else? And that's going to be a big questioning factor in these upcoming games in September that we have. And my next question is going to go for you, Anthony. Should Mancini be sacked, yes or no?
I mean, it's tough because obviously since the Euros it hasn't been great, and he's not like a young kind of up and coming coach, so maybe it's time to bring someone like that for the rebuild. But I don't know, not like an option that is just sticking out to me. Like I said it before, I would want Conte or Ancelotti, and I don't think either are coming. So I don't see a replacement at this moment of time. So I don't think you can sack him until that replacement comes. Or, I mean, if they do want to try it, and I don't even know who it would be, honestly. I can't think.
For me, I think it's Vincenzo Montella. What he's done, I think in Turkey and Russia, he's done a fantastic job. Especially, he's been coaching Balotelli, which has been another thing that Mancini looked at. And that's another question for me, is if there's somebody that I would want to bring in this team, maybe Balotelli could be that X factor. Right before the game, I think it was against not before the Macedonia game. I think it was the game, the Finalissima. I think he scored Rabona. I remember you mentioned that, Anthony, and I was like, oh my! I was like, maybe he could be the X factor, and maybe he could bring something. Maybe bring back Immobile, or maybe Insigne also as well, because it might be a different type of change, and they might have their head straight a little bit more. But for me, if there's two players that should be called up again, I think it's Verratti and Jorginho. I think they deserve a chance, and they could really help this midfield because that's something that we're lacking on. Is we're not holding the ball, we're not holding the pressure. Cristante doesn't know how to do that. He plays more defensively than usual. And then Fratesi's he's still young. He still needs to adjust. I know he plays for Sassuolo. He had a great season, but he just needs to adjust a little more. But maybe Verratti and Jorginho should get called up again. What do you think was the reason of this downfall in this match? I'm going to go with you, Dylan. What do you think was the major downfall of this match?
We just kind of got outplayed start to finish, all ends of the team. We got outpossessed in the midfield. Our defense got ran through, especially in the second half. I think the first half they kind of held up besides the Kimmich mistake. And then we fouled them. It was the penalty kick happened like right before halftime. So we almost made it out of there only 1-0, and then it ended up being 2-0, and then it was kind of a momentum shift, and then the floodgates opened in the second half. Donnarumma didn't play great, obviously, and then our offense scored late, but they were pretty silent most of the game too. I know they had shots, but like nothing super, super clinical. Neuer made a couple great saves, so got to give him that. But I think maybe the midfield, honestly. I think I know we're trying out some new guys. Like Cristante was playing, right? You said Fratesi was in. I think I'd probably like to see Verratti or Jorginho in there, like you said. They've played at a higher level before. Jorginho's played in Champions League, Euro Cup. So has Verratti. So I think although it's good to try some new guys, maybe not like all at once. And I don't know. I think the midfield kind of, and Germany's known for having a strong midfield. They control the game. Mueller and Kimmich both play like super high levels, so they kind of just were getting whatever they wanted, and I think that's probably ultimately why we lost.
So we have a question here from Ange_3562, and he says, "What do you think about Spina and how he played?" I'm going to go with you, Anthony. How do you think Spinazzola played in this match?
Yeah, I think he's showing flashes of what he was in the Euros, but he's still not 100% yet, obviously. He had a devastating injury, and it takes a while to get back to your full form. I think if that injury never happened, then we'd be in the World Cup, and, Chiesa's injury, but everyone deals with injuries. It's no excuse. I think we just Spinazzola and Chiesa were our two best players in the Euros, and we really have missed them since the Euros. But I think he's getting better. By September he will be fully fit, hopefully, and back to his old self. And I think he's one of our most important players. So I can't wait for him to get fully healthy.
I agree, and this is something that's been lacking for a very, very long time, as you mentioned. But Spinazzola does bring that pressure. But I guess he's got to find this form a little bit and adjust with this whole new team, because you have to realize he hasn't played in a very, very long time. So he needs to adjust a little bit and really bring on the pressure and really cut off the wings, what he's done in the Euros, provide cross in the box, and do what he's got to do. Dylan, we have a comment from Chris Looney 12. He said, "Where does Italy go from here?" What's your thoughts on that?
Oh, that's a good question. I wish I knew. My thoughts is I think that we need to move on. Maybe a new coach. I think that I almost wish, kind of how Ant said, the pool right now for picking up a new one isn't necessarily ideal. So I don't necessarily know who the replacement would be. But sometimes, like, after we won the Euro Cup, right? Like, sometimes you get so high, it's like you can only go down from there. And I think that's kind of what's happening. So where we're going right now, we're in like almost like a rebuild stage. And I don't know if we need a younger coach to do that and help with that. You could see we have a new formation, new lineup almost every game, which is, I mean, I don't know how important or how seriously they're treating the Nations League. So I guess that could be a good thing. It gives us the chance to try some stuff out, but we're still kind of finding our way. Sadly, the core team of, Bonucci, Chiellini, Spinazzola, Jorginho, Verratti, even Immobile, the core guys, it's not so core anymore. People get old, and that's kind of what's happening right now. But we had a good run, and I don't think we're done. I think it's kind of just a rebuild, but we have a lot of youth on the way. We've seen it in the Serie A, and it's just going to take a little time.
We're going to go over the current standing of the group. We have Hungary with 7, Germany with 6, Italy with 5, and England with 2. Italy has 5 points. If they win both games, they get 11, which would guarantee them first, depending what Hungary and Germany do in their next upcoming matches. Italy's next match will be on September 23rd against England, and their last game against Hungary is September 26th. And that they'll play England at home, I believe in the San Siro, and then Hungary away. So do you think they still have a chance to win the group, yes or no?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I do. I'm going to say we have a chance. I think maybe even Chiesa will be back by then. I'm not too sure. I know he said he's progressing well, but he doesn't want to rush anything. So I'm not sure exactly what his timeline is, but we beat Hungary before. That was our best we looked since the Euros in that game. And then against England, it's going to be a tight game, but we're home. So obviously we have to push for the win and get the job done. But I think Germany is the favorite right now, especially after yesterday. They just looked so much better than us, and even England England was even worse than us against Hungary. So I would expect Germany to beat England as well. So it's going to be tough to pass them. I'm happy that we have the break now after that loss, and we'll regroup in September in a couple months.
I agree, and you could have said it better, Anthony. I do agree with that. I mean, if you look at the schedule, we play England next. Tough match, but obviously, like, England right now is off form. They did lose against Hungary 4-0. I still can't believe that. That interesting fact. Germany tied against Hungary, but they destroy us. But we defeated Hungary. I really don't get it. That just mind boggles me that we beat Hungary 2-1, but Germany couldn't defeat them. But then we lose against Germany. And then England gets destroyed by them 4-0. So I'm like, what's in the world's going on? I know they had an amazing Euro, the past year, whatever that was. They got third. They tried their best they can. But if you really think about it, I'm actually terrified for the Hungary match more than I am for the England match, because that's going to be a team very similar to Macedonia, as we know what happened. They're going to sit back, and they're going to take the pressure, and they're going to fight on the counter. And that's exactly what they did against England. Once they got their first goal, they rushed everything, no doubt about it. But I think, realistically, I think we're going to get second. I don't see us getting first. I think Germany's going to get first. But I think Germany and Hungary do play each other. So that's going to be really the deciding factor. If that game ends in a tie, and then we win both of our games, we have a huge chance. But we need to pray that Hungary and Germany, they tie against each other when they play that next match. But we're going to move on to what's your reaction on England losing 4-0 against Hungary? Did you expect it? Were you shocked? And will England get relegated? We're going to go with you, Dylan.
I think I definitely was shocked with the result. I mean, I'm not surprised that Hungary was able to win. They've been playing pretty solid in these nation leagues. They beat England the first time too. They played, right, but I think it was only by one. Yeah. Yeah,
they beat them only 1-0 in the first game. Yes.
Yeah, it was only 1-0. But I mean, they did show that they can hang. I said this on the last podcast that Hungary's kind of a scrappy team, that they've been playing top teams in Europe for a while, so they know how to hang in there. And actually looking at the stats, they only had 6 shots and 5 on target, but 4 of them went in. So that's kind of the way soccer goes sometimes. England had 70% possession and 10 shots, but couldn't find the net. And sometimes that happens. I'm not surprised that Hungary was able to win, because we saw it with Macedonia, and it's only one game, especially because Hungary beat them 2 weeks ago. But the fact that they got spanked 4-0 with all the firepower that England has, I mean, half those guys are Champions League winners, and they've played at the top of the food chain, and it's just I think it's pretty crazy. I think they look just as bad, as not worse, than we did. So I'm not surprised that they lost, but I'm surprised at how they lost.
No, I agree 100%. Do you think they're going to get relegated, Anthony? What do you think?
I mean, I hope so. If we beat them in the next match, I think they are like mathematically relegated, if I'm not mistaken. So
yes, they are, because they would have 2 points. Yes.
Yeah. So hopefully we push them to relegation and obviously get a huge win for us. But like I said, even though they are in last place, it's not going to be easy. They also have a break now to regroup and stuff, so I'm sure they're going to come back hungry and motivated to not get relegated. So we definitely have our work cut out for us in that game.
No, I agree 100%. And I said to myself, and I say it again, I am more scared of the Hungary game than I'm scared of the England game. Because if you look at England, yeah, they have the World Cup coming 2 months after in November. They have to play their first game against Iran, I believe. So they have, for them, it's more of an exhibition than anything else. It's getting that right fit team and moving on. While Hungary's not in the tournament, I believe, and then Italy's not in it. So those two should be the two countries fighting for it and seeing what they want to do and moving on, because they have nothing to fight for when it comes to the national team. I guess just for pride in general. But yeah, anything else you want to add on England losing 4-0 against Hungary? Will they be relegated? Anything else you want to add onto that, or we're moving to the next question?
To move on.
Next question I have for you guys is I don't know if you guys saw, but France lost against Croatia 1-0. Penalty by Luka Modric. I think it was the 3rd or 4th minute, by the way. Mike Magnan couldn't make the save. Great game by Croatia, by the way. It was Croatia's first win in about 50 years, I think, against France. What is happening to France, and will they get relegated into Group B? Let's go with you, Dylan.
Yeah, they're not. It's funny because like a lot of these top teams have just been losing recently. I think that right now that I don't know if they're going to get relegated. They definitely. So what is the top 2 advance?
No, just
so only one. So the first one advances, then second and third stay alive in their group, and then if you get the last place, you get relegated to a lower group, which would be Group B.
Yeah, so I mean it's definitely not looking like they're gonna get through. I'm trying to see where they're at right now. Yeah, so they're in last and they haven't won a single game yet. They have the worst goal differential in the group. So they'd really need – I mean, I think it's actually impossible for them to come in first at this point. They have 2 games left. Denmark has 9 points. So, I mean, yeah, I think it's pretty safe to say that even though they probably have the best team on paper, they're probably going to be out of this. I think I'm trying to look right now. Yeah, so they play Austria again, and they play Denmark. They tied Austria 1-1, and they lost to Denmark last time. I think they'll probably be out of this. I think that either of those teams, even if either of those teams squeak out a tie again, as long as France doesn't sweep both games, I think it's a wrap for them.
Anthony, are you shocked that France lost against Croatia? Croatia got the revenge from 2018 World Cup final. Do you think the World Cup curse is going to continue? Because I did mention this in our World Cup podcast. I did say the World Cup curse will continue. France still got the group. It's pretty much happening right now in the Nations League. Do you think it's going to continue moving on forward in the World Cup as well?
I don't. I would really, really be surprised if they don't make it out of the group. Who's in their group? I don't know if I heard.
I know. I think it's Denmark. Hold on one second. Just keep going. Just say other opinions of France.
No matter who's in their group, honestly, I would be surprised if they don't make it out. I think kind of like Italy, they're testing out just younger players and players who haven't gotten a chance, just because they have so many young guys that are doing really well for their clubs and just haven't gotten the opportunity because France is loaded. So I think they're doing kind of what Italy is doing. Obviously, they're at a different stage than Italy. Italy's rebuilding. France is kind of just testing out new talents, which is it's hard in these games when you're playing so many games in short times to just keep switching lineups and stuff. You get like no chemistry, no continuity. So I'm not too surprised that they're not doing as good as I would think, but seeing them in last with no wins after 5 games or 4 games is insane. Even with the guys they're testing out, they're still amazing players. So it just shows how cool this is, that giving everyone a chance to play, and we're seeing some insane results. So it's really cool.
Like you mentioned, Anthony, I'm going to read you Group D. So in the World Cup, France has Australia, Denmark, and Tunisia. Interesting fact about Australia is they won a penalty shootout against Peru. Congratulations to them. But France already played them in World Cup 2018. France won that game 3-1. They've also played Denmark. In that same group, I think they won only 1-0. Mbappe scored. And then Tunisia, I don't know if they played them, so it's going to be interesting to see that. But interesting fact, France is already playing Denmark this year 3 times already. They already played them once, which they lost. They're going to play them again. I believe, in September, and then obviously they're playing them in the World Cup in the World Cup when it starts. So it's really going to be interesting to see what happens with France, and it will be a rebuild happen, or will be a complete disaster? Will they crumble, and will the World Cup curse continue? We'll see what's going to happen with that. Any other questions you guys have about that match?
No.
Okay. The next topic we're going to talk about is the Concacaf Nations League. It's very similar to the Nations League happening with UEFA. How their groups work, it's a little bit different. So they have groups of 3 teams. So there's obviously Group A and Group B, et cetera, et cetera. First place moves on to the Nations League finals, and second place gets qualification for the Gold Cup. And then if you get third place, you get a preliminary match in the Gold Cup, which is kind of like a playoff match. And then if you get third place, you get relegated to Group B. If we look at USA's group, I don't know if you guys saw the match yesterday. They tied El Salvador. Jordan Morris got a goal in the 91st minute, I think. What a goal from him it was. And what a match, by the way. Thoughts on the USA-El Salvador match? I don't know if you guys saw it. Any opinion on the pitch, by the way, which is absolutely dreadful. Very, very muddy pitch as well. Any opinions on the match?
Yeah, I watched the second half. The field was absolutely terrible. Looked like a high school field. It was a mess. But still, no excuse. There's no way we should be. We almost lost. We scored in the 92nd minute, I think, to tie it up. Can't be doing that against teams like El Salvador, especially when we're going.
Yes, 92nd technically. Yes, yeah. Correct.
Especially when we're going into the World Cup, we got to play teams like England and Wales. So, yeah, just I hope we're getting this out now. Preparing like kind of Italy's doing, just testing new guys out, because the competition in Concacaf Nations League is not great at all. We have El Salvador and who's the other team? Grenada? Like, just terrible.
I think it's Grenada. Yeah, the last game they beat them 5-0.
Yeah, so it just shows how advanced these other nations and continents are to CONCACAF. Because I would say Grenada wouldn't even be in Nations League Group 4 in Europe. So that's a story for another day with FIFA.
Any opinion on the match, Dylan, on El Salvador USA, and And what's your opinion on on Horvath, the goalkeeper for USA, because he got an absolute blunder, just ball watching for El Salvador's goal. And do you think FIFA should really reconsider when matches are being played with pitches like this?
Yeah, I mean, first with the field that's I'm looking at it now, that's really bad. I mean, I've played soccer at such a like a less level than this, and I've played on like way better fields, which is insane. Obviously the game wasn't here. I guess that's somewhere in El Salvador. I don't know in terms of finances how they are as a nation and just funding their soccer gets, but I don't think it's great. I think that FIFA should probably regulate it a bit better, though, to maybe find if it doesn't work for them, maybe like a neutral site or something, but that's beyond me. In terms of the goalie, I think, did you say last podcast that you wanted the goalie from NYC to play?
Yeah, Sean Johnson. I wanted to see him play.
Yeah, actually, I was watching the game with one of our friends not too long ago, the NYC game, and I was saying how like he's big, tall, and he's pretty good. And they were saying that I think he is on the team, but he doesn't start. He's like the third string goalie, right, or maybe second.
Yeah, he's the third string. I think it's Matt Turner, right? Isn't it Matt Turner the secondary goalie?
Yeah, Turner.
Matt. Yeah.
I mean,
Matt Turner's kind
at that.
Honestly,
At that point, what doesn't make sense to me is I don't understand why Matt Turner didn't play this match, because this guy looked absolutely horrible. He just, I mean, that was like a cross. It wasn't even a shot on goal, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, he let in the one goal, which was bad, obviously, but I don't think that, like, I think that even if we let in one goal, we should have won. Like, we shouldn't have scored one goal as well for us in the 91st minute to barely tie El Salvador. I think that's pretty pathetic. If we want to try to, generate a decent showing in the World Cup, that's not the way to do it. But USA, kind of like a lot of these other teams, have been putting together a bunch of different lineups recently, trying out some younger guys, and a lot of these guys that I haven't heard of before. Obviously, we know Pulisic, Adams, Weah, the core guys, but I think they're still trying to find their way and mix it up, but I think this was a pretty bad showing for USA. I think that we should probably consider this a loss the way that we played, and we're not even first in the group right now in a pretty weak group. I mean, I didn't even know that some of these countries were even countries. Like, where even is Grenada? I mean, Aruba. I mean, these are like very, very small islands that barely even have a population to be a country, yet alone a soccer team. So, I mean, I think we should really be, I don't want to say running through this division, but at least be smoking some of these teams. I know other than Mexico and maybe Canada, I don't really see anybody that's too great. I don't know, Costa Rica maybe.
Yeah, Costa Rica, they actually just made the World Cup. They just they just defeated New Zealand. A big controversial game on that as well. Yeah. So we got a comment from Jay Coker. He said, "Ant." He said, "Big soccer guy." And then I guess the quote that you said, Dylan, he says, "I didn't know some of these countries were even countries." You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I do agree, and I guess that's the beauty of geography. You find out more things, and I guess you figure out who more nations and more teams that could be. But I appreciate that comment. Thank you so much. But the next two matches that USA has will be March of next year in 2023. They play Grenada, and then they play El Salvador in their last match. So I think, as of now in the standings, if you look at it, El Salvador right now has 5 points, USA with 4, and Grenada with 1. So all USA has to do automatically is pretty much win one match, and they're going to the Nations League finals. Yeah. Like, how crazy is that? Yeah, and there's only 3 teams in the group.
If we don't do that, I think that's pretty sad.
That is pretty sad to say the least. I wish Europe was like this. It would have been amazing.
There's just too many tough teams that it has to be 4 in a division. It's different.
I agree. Another thing we want to mention is obviously we're talking about the Nations League and everything else, and I know I remember a quote that you said, Anthony. I love it. You said it creates more competition, and this is something that should have been done prior in advance. For example, we didn't know who Hungary was until, I would say, this Euro. And the presence that they did was absolutely outstanding in the Euros. They tied against France. They played, they had a really, really good match against Germany. They're dominating this tournament so far right now. Do you think the Nations League is a great thing for these small countries to develop and to show what they can do on a big European stage?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a great opportunity for teams that aren't gonna win World Cups or Euros, whatever. But it gives them another chance to kind of develop and play these big teams. But I think that eventually they could do more with the Nations League, maybe kind of making it a mini World Cup where you tie in like different countries and mix it up so we're not playing the same teams over and over again. I know in Europe you don't notice it too much because there's a lot of teams, but USA is always playing the same teams, like Mexico, Costa Rica. It would be nice to see them playing big teams in Europe or South America, whatever it is, other than just the World Cup. So I think it could improve a little bit. I don't know if that's even something they're gonna consider, but that's what I would kind of do. Bring them all just together and have A, B, not just European teams. Like USA could be an A or B, whatever, and have relegation and stuff like that.
I absolutely love you said that, and this is something that was mentioned. I know Fox Soccer on their YouTube channel. I remember a comment somebody posted, and they said, why did they get rid of the FIFA Confederations Cup? It was an amazing tournament to have all the champions compete in this one grand stage. They got rid of it. I still have no idea why. But what they could do is, like you said, they could integrate a lot of teams, and teams from UEFA, from Colombo, Concacaf, and also Oceania. There could be so much diversity and change, and you could see different matchups that you've never seen before. And this will be a great test for not just European nations, but nations from CONCACAF and Colombo, et cetera, et cetera. And this could be a huge change. I really do appreciate that comment, and that could really be a thing. I am reading an article right now that there's a possibility that UEFA and Colombo from South America, they want to integrate their Nations League. So it's going to be UEFA and Colombo integrating their Nations League. So in some groups you might see an example might be let's say Italy, Argentina, let's say France and Poland, whatever the case may be. And all four will be in a group, and there'll be relegation, et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to go with you, Dylan. Do you think UEFA and Colombo is doing the right thing of integrating both of these continents in another tournament as well?
Well, isn't that weren't they doing that with the Confederations Cup?
Yes, they were. There's 8 nations in the Confederations Cup.
Yes.
But what they want to do is obviously they want to have more nations in this. More Nations League.
Because that was cool, and I think they did that I don't know if they still do it, but that was every 4 years, every 2 years, in between the Euro and the World Cup, right?
Yeah, it would be the year before the World Cup. So the last one we saw was 2017.
Yeah, I remember I think it was Germany and Chile, and then I think we had Brazil and Spain the one before that. And
then it was Brazil and USA, the final of 2009.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're right. So, if we could if they can make it something kind of like that, but a bigger tournament. Yeah, I'm actually looking at the history right now. Cameroon was in one of the finals. Japan was in the finals. But yeah, it was cool. You get to see kind of different continents, nations from different continents play each other, and we don't necessarily have to wait for the World Cup every year or every 4 years. So I think that would be a good idea if they move towards that direction. I think that it kind of gives players exposure to playing teams that they don't always play against, different parts of the world. And yeah, I mean, living in the United States, I'm kind of sick of just seeing us play Jamaica, Panama, and Mexico every time we play. So think it could only help.
My next question for you, Anthony, is if I understand USA did tie this game, and we are moving on. Should you be scared if you're the USA national team? And how do you move forward from this tie against El Salvador?
No, I mean, obviously, if we're scared to play these two teams, then we shouldn't even be in the World Cup. But I think you said that starts up again in March, so after the World Cup.
Yeah, I don't know exactly when in March, but I know it's mid-March probably.
Yeah, so basically now the focus is on the World Cup and getting out of the group stage, which is, I think, minimum of what we have to do. Would really love to see them maybe even advance to the quarterfinals, kind of build some momentum for the 2026 World Cup, which is in USA. So, yeah, I think part of what I said about the Nations League is, too, improving USA, because there was a time where we were not as good and playing these teams in Concacaf were okay, but now we're kind of getting better and want to reach levels that we haven't before. So I think playing these European teams and South American teams would not only be fun for us to watch, but help them develop better too. So I think just playing the same teams over and over again, like the same CONCACAF teams that are not too good, like really only it's Mexico and Canada just recently started being good. It just makes us complacent and not really improving us, in my opinion.
No, I agree. Like I said, I do agree with that. And another thing I do agree, like I don't know if you noticed, like 4 and 8 years ago, you didn't see a lot of American players playing overseas. Like now you are starting to see a Christian Pulisic, a Weston McKennie, a Gio Reyna. You're seeing a lot of kids come out there, and then more of them playing in Europe than playing in MLS in general. And could this be a problem with, a lot of Americans are playing outside of Europe and they're playing their game and they're playing much better? Or do you think it's being a downfall because not American-born players are playing in the league that they're pretty much brought up with? I'm going to go with you, Dylan. Do you think MLS is downgrading due to that? Or do you think Americans are truly loving to watch the USA national team more because majority of them are playing overseas in Europe? What's your opinion on that?
I mean, I don't know if we could really downgrade because we've kind of just been low for a while as it is. Soccer in the United States is just steps behind. I think everybody knows that. We've talked about it before on the podcast. Sadly, like the only thing that really draws eyes to the MLS is like these big name guys from overseas that are coming and kind of retiring here. The guys that are out of their prime that can't play in Europe anymore, but they come over here, like Kaká, David Villa, Pirlo, these guys over the years.
By the way, Giorgio Chiellini also signed, I think for LAFC, right?
Yes.
So
yeah, he just signed. By the way, I don't know if you saw his picture, but he looks like a 1940s, 1950s with all that. It's pretty funny. I don't know if you guys check out that picture. By the way.
So yeah,
you can go back to your comment. I'm sorry.
I mean, it's funny because like things like that is what would generate more views for them and bring our eyes to it. Us being Italy fans, especially. And in terms of the USA itself, I think, the good thing is a lot of my friends that maybe they don't follow the MLS too closely, but everybody knows who Christian Pulisic is because he played in the Champions League, like played in Chelsea. These big clubs, I think that only helps in terms of exposure, even though we live in the United States. Like people know way more about who Chelsea and Manchester United are than they know who the Chicago Fire is. That's just the way it works. So I think that obviously these big name guys, if they could play, I know there were some guys that played in Juventus, right? McKinney.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Weston McKennie. Yeah, he plays for Juventus now.
Yeah, he's another bigger guy. I know we had guys in the past that have played in Germany. So yeah, I think that probably helps United States national team exposure. But in turn, I think the MLS is just obviously behind. I mean, I think everyone kind of sees it as when I can't compete in Europe anymore, I go there type of deal, which is good and bad for us. I mean, it lets us see some of these cool players, but competition-wise, it's light years below.
I agree, and that's something we've talked about. We went to many MLS games. I know Dylan and Anthony. We went to Red Bull games, and the level of competition is not there yet. It is developing, which is a great thing. And obviously, jersey sales are another thing. Because I remember like 4 or 5 years ago, you used to go to MLS game, and there's people with like Ronaldo jerseys and Messi jerseys, and they're not even playing the game. At least now you're seeing a recognition of these players and who they are and what they can do. And I wish that a lot more of them are chosen to play for the U.S. national team, representing in a better level. Another thing I wanted, breaking news by the way, Apple TV and Major League Soccer. They have a big contract for 10 years, starting in 2023. It's the first historic sports streaming service for Apple TV Plus for sports. The MLS gets all the matches with any blackouts or restrictions as well. What do you think of the MLS moving forward, and do you think it's a good opportunity for Apple TV gaining the rights for the MLS? I'm going to go with you, Anthony.
Yeah, I think obviously everyone here knows Apple has an iPhone or whatever, Max. So I think this will push kind of more people to watch MLS, hopefully. I know Apple TV is starting to leak into baseball too. I'm a big Yankee guy, and every Friday the Yankees are on Apple TV and not anything else. So I think hopefully this gives more people the chance to watch, or makes them watch more, because, like I said, Apple is huge here in the United States. So, yeah, I think it could only mean good things. So I'm excited to see how this affects kind of ratings and the MLS going forward.
I'm going to go with you, Dylan. Do you think MLS is going to increase their ratings with Apple TV, or do you think it's a total disaster?
I think they're trying. I mean, that's the way that the world is turning towards these days. Everything's kind of streaming systems at this point. I think if you're going through Apple products, it's always a smart move because it's easily accessible. I feel like 90% of the people have it at this point, whether it's Apple TV, streaming through your iPhone, your iPad, whatever it is, MacBook Pro, whatever it is. I think that the access is definitely there. And I think that, they're trying to do the best they can. I think this is the step in the right direction. Yeah, I think it would only be a positive thing for them. So I think I would anticipate more viewership, more ratings.
I'm gonna be on the bias of it, and I'm gonna say why. I guess because I'm more of an Android user, so not a lot of people can access that. But however, I know a lot of apps that Apple are integrating with Android, which is a great thing, and vice versa as well. But the big talking point for me is Apple TV. I think it's one of the $5 a month, whatever the case may be. So that's another streaming service you have to tackle on. For example, there's Peacock that has a Premier League. You have Paramount Plus that has a Champions League, Europa League, Conference League, and Serie A. You have ESPN Plus, which is La Liga and other matches going on as well. So that's another streaming service you have to add on when ESPN already had the rights to it. So I think it's going to be a great thing for Apple TV. Congratulations to them, because I know that MLB, I don't watch baseball, but I know people are enjoying it. But I really think it's going to be a major difference and could be a huge impact. And I would love to see some, I guess, like interactive integration and see how it could work with fans and see how that works. But that'll be pretty cool to see. And my last question before we sign off is what player impacted you the most in the Nations League for Italy? Ready, go. Who's your favorite player in the Nations League in these 4 matches? Who's your favorite player? So we're going to start with you, Dylan.
I said it before, I guess Yonto. I think one, because I never really heard of him before. A lot of guys that have reputations from Serie A and stuff like that, I almost know what to expect, or at least they kind of have like the light around them before they even enter the field, just because they have the hype. I didn't know anything about him in the past couple of games where the offense looked pretty slow. He was one that kind of picked it up, and even though we lost, the fact that he at least found the net was big, because our forwards have been struggling with that. And I think I'm going to go with him.
For you, Anthony, who was the player that really caught your eyes in these 4 Nations League matches?
I'm going to say Fratesi. I think he looked really good. Unfortunately, he is another center midfielder. I've said it before. I wish some of these prospects were strikers and wingers, maybe, because our center mids are just loaded. But he looked really good. He's fast. He's kind of a different player than Barella and Tonali. I think he's more attacking. We saw the first game against Germany, I think it was. He looked really good. He could have scored a couple times.
He looked phenomenal.
Yeah. Just another one of these young players that we have to rely on. And I think he could be the future midfield with Tonali and Barella and Locatelli, those 4. Obviously, I'd still love to see Verratti and maybe Jorginho, but I think the center mid position is locked up for a while, and I was really impressed with him alongside Yonto too.
I'm going to say Politano. I remember in the first 2 matches he looked fantastic. He looked very, very good in the home match against Germany. He looked fantastic. I know he fell down, got injured a little bit. He came back up. In the next match against Hungary, he had a couple shots. He hit the crossbar. He could be the next big difference. And I don't know why he reminds me of Insigne, because I guess he plays on Napoli. But he's fantastic. He's been on form. Yonto's amazing. I like him a lot. I never heard of him until this tournament started. And what a player he was. In 4 Nations League matches, he got a goal and assist. Like, what an incredible story for that kid. And for me, I really want to see Scamacca. I really want to see him score 1 goal soon. And once he breaks, he's going to be the next big thing. He'll be 10 times better than Immobile, maybe. I'm not sure. But I would love to see Verratti and Jorginho get called up again, because that's something we lack. And something I wanted to see just in general is I want to see Locatelli more. I really want to see him press and push the box, because he's a guy that likes to take a shot out to the box and do damage. And I feel like that was somebody that was missing in the Germany match. And I just feel like in these Nations League matches in general. So that's somebody that may want to be on. But in the next match, I want to see Cranio start. Let Cranio start. Let Donnarumma say, you know what, I didn't start, but I got to step on my game. I know Cranio had an amazing season with Cagliari. He's very, very good goalkeeper. He can play very well. Alex Meret, I wouldn't take him. He's been pretty bad, to say the least. But, I would start Cranio, and that would be my player for me. And the Nations League in general, it's got to be Luka Modric. I mean, that kid on the field is just fantastic. Anywhere on the pitch, he's always anywhere for Croatia, and you saw that in the win against France. What a story for him. There was an interview that happened, and I know Griezmann talked to Luka Modric, and he said, "Oh, you never got the penalty in the final." So it's kind of like a revenge that happened in a couple of years span. So it's pretty cool to see. Anything you guys want to add of the Nations League, on Concacaf Nations League, on anything going around in the football world at the moment?
No, I think kind of we're after this. Like, there's not much going on for a little bit in terms of soccer, so we're gonna try to keep up with all the news and transfers and whatever. But it's a little slow time right now, but but stay tuned.
Absolutely. Anything you want to add, Dylan?
Nah, shout out to my guy Messi. 5 goals last week. Nobody talked about it.
Well, Lionel Messi gets. You know what? I agree. The kid's a beast, but you can't stop Messi. He's amazing. You know what? He scored 5 goals against Estonia, but he got 5 goals in a match. It's pretty much incredible.
Yes.
Salute to him, by the way. I guess that's gonna wrap it up. We'll salute, guys. Thank you so much. We are the 90-minute club. We got ACAST. We got Dylan Perrone, the 2 best in the game. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you we'll try to see you guys next week. Thank you so much, and salute to Anthony from Interworldwide for posting about us and talking about our podcast. We really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. Ciao, Anthony. See you, all right?
Ciao, Belly.